2022 video games. I played some of them this year. I would have gotten this video out of the way much sooner. I ultimately ended up working way more than I expected. I got my car stolen at the beginning of the week. It's back. I have it back. It's getting fixed, but you know, a lot of stuff is going on. So the video is coming a bit later in the week. Don't say I've never done anything for you, because it's still going to be here. All right, my favorite 2022 video games. You can hear about them in more detail on the BNY Gaming Podcast linked below, but we are going through my top 5 because there were truly only 5 games I thought that actually moved the needle for me. I really want to shout them out because I think they're doing something special. I gave a top 10 on the podcast. You can listen to that. And that is mainly based on these games that I also enjoyed, say Splatoon 3 or a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Those were 2 shout-outs on there. Unfortunately, the game I have not played in time for either list is Pentiment. I'm playing that currently. Very good. I'm at the point where I'm thinking it's very good. I'm going to make a video about it at some point soon, so stand by for that. But it is time to get in to my top 5. So number 5 is Sifu. I've given plenty of analysis on this already, but I'll give you a quick version. Sifu is on this list because of its ability for its mechanics and difficulty to completely invade my mind. My lack of skill just haunts me in this game, and the drive to succeed has carried me through. It's a beautiful game with unique mechanics and a striking art style. What it lacks in narrative and characters, I think, is made up for through set-piece spectacle and deep fighting mechanics. I think Sifu is one of the most interesting games of 2022, and for that, it makes it in at number 5 on my list. At number 4, God of War Ragnarok is an example of getting more of a good thing. I've been fairly critical of the PlayStation formula of games. I think it started to get stale. I want to see them venture out and make different things. But God of War Ragnarok is a really good version of the stuff that they've been doing the whole time. Doesn't do anything super different, but it does have a whole bunch of characters that I care about, and I can't really say that for very many video games. I'm not always very attached to the characters in these stories. God of War Ragnarok is the exception. I think all of the characters, from Kratos and Atreus, down to Freya, Mimir, Brock, Sindri, all of them show why, they justify their existence within the story, because they are just such compelling character. On top of all of this, the 2018 version of God of War, that is, had the advantage of surprise. None of us really expected this game. It was a very small story, technically, very personal, seeing Kratos in a different light than no one had ever really seen before. And that was great, but Ragnarok did not have that advantage. It had expectations, and on top of that, it had this self-set expectation that this was going to be bigger. It was going to be the end of the duology. And God of War Ragnarok succeeds at being that bigger and, I think, better game in almost every single way. I do really appreciate the more focused nature of 2018, but I think Ragnarok outdoes that game from a character and story perspective, and especially a gameplay perspective. I don't think this gameplay is perfect, but I think it is significantly better than 2018. You get more options as the player character, environments are more varied, and enemies are more varied. That was a major issue in 2018, not an issue in God of War Ragnarok. I enjoyed it a lot. Immortality, number 3. From the creator of Her Story and Telling Lies, Sam Barlow. He makes these FMV games that are super interesting. And Immortality, I almost feel like is the final form of this type of game. This seems like his magnum opus, and I don't know how it could ever be one-upped. Immortality involves the creation of 3 different movies, along with behind-the-scenes footage and just general personal footage that exists. Sees you match cutting by picking items or faces within a scene. It'll take you to a completely different random scene, and it's all with the goal of discovering the fates of multiple people throughout this. Marissa Marcel is the main actress, but there are other people that you'll see throughout the clips, and you want to find out what happens to them as well. Immortality is one of the most interesting games I've ever played. I'm not even sure what games could possibly even rival it in how interesting it is. And there is a moment that everyone will find at a different time in Immortality that I think is maybe the best moment in gaming this year. I think it's at least top 2. This game is spooky. You could say it's a horror game. It is mysterious, and I loved every second of it. I played it in like 4-hour chunks, and it was all I could think about for about a week. I'm still thinking about it today. Might be a little bit dense. Slightly dense game. You're going to want to like find a podcast or something that talks about it, or play it alongside friends, because you might not be able to get everything by this non-linear nature that you go through it, but Immortality is definitely worth playing.
We're called neons, sinners plucked from hell to do God's dirty work.
Number 2, Neon White. I love Neon White. This is my gameplay is king pick. I think it's probably equally interesting to Immortality, just in a different way. I think Neon White is primarily interesting in gameplay. And that is because this game is sold as a speedrunning card game. And I think that doesn't do it any justice at all. The cards, they simply represent what weapon you're holding. The speedrunning part, that is justified because you're going through these levels super quickly and you want to earn medals and you want to beat your scores. And you do that by finding shortcuts or finding creative ways to use the movement mechanics that come with your cards or weapons. Because when you get a pistol, it's not just a pistol. You also have the secondary ability to double jump. And every single weapon has something like that. The shotgun isn't just the shotgun. It also can shoot you in any direction you want. The RPG is not just the RPG. It's also a grappling hook. This two-function item idea adds so much to the gameplay. I loved every second of the end way, even the cringy story. It's a cringy anime story. I think it is clearly made with the perspective of like being sort of a love letter to anime. Some people find it cringy. I think it's meant to be cringy. I don't think it's absolved for being a love letter, but it is, and I was able to get over it. There's some weird references to big boobs and characters that are drawn in pervier ways, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Neon White. It's great. You got to play the game. Number one is Elden Ring. Shouldn't really shock anyone. It was by far the best game of this year. I don't know what to tell you if you don't agree. It really blew my socks off. I got into From Software for the first time this year. I played through Dark Souls 1 and I fell in love with it. I think I even like Dark Souls 1 more than Elden Ring, and I want to replay it again one day. So I went from Dark Souls 1 straight into Elden Ring. I got to see what wasn't quite the start, but what was like the birth of From Software, the birth of From Software as we know them, and then go straight into what is probably their magnum opus. I'm not saying that it's their best game definitively. It very well might be, but I'm saying that this bigger, more expansive approach to the Souls formula was successful. It was as successful as you could even imagine. This game sold a ton because of how popular it got. It was all over TikTok for months. I was playing it for months. I think I was playing it for about 2 months. I was able to get the platinum trophy in it. I did have to cheese it. I had to fake the other endings that you have to get trophies for. But man, oh man, Elden Ring is a game. Everything's been said about it. You can find a video essay that will break down literally every single aspect of this game. I hope that one day in the future, more is able to be uncovered, because it's almost kind of disappointing that it feels like it's been combed over so much. But Elden Ring will leave a huge legacy. And I hope that that legacy is not over yet. I hope that we're able to continue finding new things about this game, and perhaps even get sequels to the Elden Ring style of the From Software formula. So those were my favorite games of the year. I gotta be completely honest, 2022 was not my favorite gaming year. A lot didn't click with me, but also a lot changed in my life so that I wasn't able to play as much. So it's equally on both our parts. It's on the year and it's on me. I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll be talking more later on in the next weeks here, and I'll see you next video.